So we're going to be taking a look at Liver King's apology. For those of you who don't know, Liver King finally got popped and got caught taking steroids, and he was like on a 13K a month stack for steroids. I have not seen any of this clip, so all of this will be genuine 100% reaction. I've been saving this just to react to. I'm a little surprised he does the apology. One of the things he's, as far as just background, in terms of the fitness community, he has been regarded as kind of the most popular fake natural, as everyone thought he was on gear, who was part of the fitness industry, but he's also become mainstream. He's been on a ton of podcasts recently, and me personally, he's always kind of rubbed me a little bit the wrong way, although a lot of the stuff he espouses I think is good, like eating organ meat and, like exercising a lot and like these sorts of things. But to get the physique he's gotten, he's clearly on gear, and he got popped for being on gear. He's like in his 40s, he's in excellent shape as far as physique goes, and let's get into his apology, which it might not even be an apology. He might just apologize for eating too much liver and tell us to go fuck ourselves. So we'll see.
Primals, I'm making this video to apologize.
One thing I don't like him very much is one thing I don't like that he does is he refers to people as primals and subprimals, and like I'm not a huge fan of like this language that like separates people into like two different groups that is like highly polarized and like tribal, but like this is kind of a small thing.
Because I fucked up.
Yeah, you did.
Because I'm embarrassed and ashamed.
Yep.
Because I lied.
Big time. It wasn't even a silent like natural thing where he just like never comments on it. He commented and doubled down and tripled down, quadrupled down repeatedly that he was not taking steroids and that his physique was entirely because of the 9 ancestral tenets. And then we find out the 10th ancestral tenet is HGH and Trenbolone.
I misled a lot of people. I've stated that this is a complicated as fuck topic, at least to me it is, because before social media, I was rich and anonymous, and after social media, I'm still rich, but no longer anonymous, and I never expected this kind of exposure.
This is kind of idiotic. In the emails that got like popped him, he mentions that he is trying to, like, in a year's time get 1 million subscribers on his Instagram, and so the idea that he had no idea he was gonna like blow up like he did is just ridiculous, because that was his very intention, to blow up like he did. He hired like camera crews, and this is the entire reason he hopped on gear in the first place, so he could be in as good a shape as possible, not because of his ancestral tenets, but because the gear.
In the public eye, it's been tricky as fuck to navigate.
It's simple to navigate. You just don't lie. You just tell people you're on gear and ancestral tenets, and or you just don't hop on the gear and you let like your lifestyle that you're espousing anyways do the talking.
Well, clearly I did it wrong, and I'm here now to set the record straight. Yes, I've done steroids, and yes,
there we have it, from the whatever you want to call him's mouth.
I am on steroids, monitored and managed by a trained hormone clinician. Liver King,
the natural ancestral tenet of Trenbolone and Winstrol.
The public figure, was an experiment.
I don't think he's on Tren, though.
To spread the message, to bring awareness to the 4,000 people a day who kill themselves, the 80,000 people a day that try to kill themselves. Our people are hurting at record rates.
This is cheap virtue signaling to like distract from what he should really be apologizing for, which is peddling and hawking supplements, saying that it's going to give a specific result, his result specifically, and then his result, it turns out, is from gear. And so there's not any authenticity in this apology so far.
With depression, autoimmune, anxiety, infertility, low ambition in life.
Apologize for taking people's money.
And young men are hurting them both, feeling lost, weak, and submissive. So I made it my job to model, teach, and preach a simple, elegant solution called ancestral living.
Your job is just you're a poster, you're a walking billboard for being ripped and like that is your job, because you are representing your supplements and you are saying you're taking these supplements. Your job is not this like reaching out. He doesn't have a degree in psychology. He doesn't have like anything like this, and he's espousing a philosophy that he says is going to give a result that's not result. If you want to talk about like changing people's lives and like this sort of thing, it needs to come from a place of authenticity, not like a lie, like, because when you're talking about superficial like problems, or sorry, superficial solutions and like inauthentic solutions, this is exactly what makes people like depressed to begin with, is like these like vapid like no not primals.
The 9 ancestral tenets. So our people no longer have to suffer, so we can collectively express our highest and most dominant form. This is my fight. This is why I exist.
Give the money back. Refund people. Don't sell products then. Saying that they'll get a result.
While spreading the message, I've been on several podcasts, and when asked if I'd ever taken steroids,
This guy's a
I always
donkey.
said, no, I don't touch this stuff, not gonna touch this stuff, never touch the stuff.
Yep, that's exactly what you've said. And then you've said, if you want to get yoked like me, do what I do and do the 9 ancestral tenets. Not get on HGH. It was a lie, yeah.
I've convinced myself that this had nothing to do with the ancestral message. I convinced myself that I'm not a competitive athlete of any kind, so who the fuck am I cheating?
You're cheating every single person who purchases a supplement from you under the impression that they can look like you and get your type of results when your results are coming from gear.
I convinced myself that this topic was
This should be fraud. I hope that there's a class action lawsuit. I don't think it's possible to sue him for this type of thing, but I really wish it was possible and that he just like got the bejesus kicked out of him by everyone who's bought a supplement under the impression that they can get like him.
placeholder for a far more important conversation. I convinced myself
It's not about a conversation. This guy owns a ton of supplement companies.
that this would overshadow the 36 years of working out, usually twice a day, without PEDs. I've convinced.
The thing is he could have, if he didn't take PEDs for 36 years, and then he takes it right before he's trying to get into tip-top shape in order to do this social media push, which seems like what he was trying to do in, like, was it 2021 when he jumped on the scene? It's like, you should have just kept doing what you were doing, my guy. If you're, it's just so inauthentic. Because he probably could have shown up in pretty good shape, said I'm in my mid-40s and not been on gear, and then just showed people blood work and all this stuff, and he would have been, like, so much better than he is, like, Mr. HGH.
Convinced myself that this was the vocal minority, usually in the fitness category, driving to an unproductive conversation.
It's like, it's so not about the natty or not, like, thing. This guy's acting like it's whether he's on gear or not that's important to people. What's important is the deception, right? If he was like, I ascribe to the 9 ancestral tenets and I'm also on hella gear, that I would have no problem with this guy, It's not about the gear, it's about the lie. And him acting like it's about the gear is ridiculous.
And I had convinced myself that this would be the wrong message to send to the 15-year-old boys. So I continually dismissed it, and I dug myself into a bigger...
You know what the wrong message to send to 15-year-old boys is, though? That, like, you can do it through this hard work and this perseverance, this 9 ancestral tenets, and then you keep telling them all you need to do is these 9 things, and then you get popped for being on gear, and it just turns out you were a cheater all along. The exact message that sends to 15-year-old kids is you should just cheat and say you're not cheating in order to get results and get these huge followings on, like, Instagram or whatever. It's actually teaching them to be this, like, inauthentic, like, liar little, like, it's sending completely the wrong message, and you could not send the message, like, worse. Like, Rich Piana was on hella gear, like, this, what was it, it's the 5% nutrition, 95% gear joke, and he was, like, open about being on gear, and he would be someone to look up to, not Liver King.
And deeper hole. I have only myself to blame. I did that.
Yep.
And it was all wrong.
Yep.
I will be better. I will talk about it openly. because I believe that there's a time and a place for farm.
I am curious to see if you can right this ship or whatever. But I think that, like, if you're going to be on gear and you're going to pretend to be natural, you should just, like, not address. I don't know what you should do then, actually. I think you should just be authentic, and that's, like, not an authentic thing. But if you're doing that, like, I don't even know.
Pharmacological intervention monitored and managed by a trained hormone physician. In 2021, when I was 43 years old, I didn't feel 100% physically or cognitively. So I went to get monitored and managed by a trained hormone clinician to see what the fuck was going on with my life. And so yes, it's true. I have tried several peptide combinations in an effort to increase my growth hormone, and it didn't work, meaning that my levels still remained below the normal.
Look, just because it didn't have an enormous effect, you're just like a low responder, doesn't mean you're not taking gear. Like, this is like, I hope he's not going to try and, like, argue that, like, it's the 9 ancestral tenets, the steroids weren't even doing that much.
Level. So yes, it's also true that I've tried pharmaceutical grade growth hormone, and I finally found success in managing therapeutic levels in the normal range. Yes.
This, like, I'm just getting up to the normal range, bro. Like, I hate this. You know, when Chael Sonnen got popped for being on, stuff, at least one thing I liked about what he did is that, like, he got popped for his T being too high, and he was like, oh, the test came back that I was 6 times the normal level? Must have caught me on a low day. You know, but, like, this, like, oh, I was just trying to get into normal ranges, my guy. It's like, come on, bro.
This is true. I've continued on with 0.6 cc's of testosterone per week, roughly 120 milligrams of testosterone a week.
This guy talks about boosting testosterone to higher levels naturally because, like, then this was one of his, like, major shticks. He would be like, you know, the testosterone level is lower now than it used to be 100 years ago or whatever, and, like, all you need to do is the 9 ancestral tenets to, like, up your T. And he's, like, literally peddling a message that you can increase T through his methods while he is taking T. It's like, it's very much like, it's not a small thing to, like, lie in this way.
Nope. I don't take any other steroids like nandrolone or Winstrol, but I have tried them in the past without success.
Again, you could have said this to begin with.
Yes, it's also true that my blood chemistry got all fucked up while taking nandrolone and Winstrol. My lipids got all deranged, my liver enzymes went sky high, which is why clinical oversight is an absolute must.
And him, like, hawking this apology, like, making an emphasis on, like, oversight, which he's, like, seems to be doing, like, a whole bunch, is just detracting from the whole point of this apology. The apology he should be making is that I have been manipulating people into buying my supplements by saying that they could get this type of result, and, you know, he hasn't ponied up to that at all. So, like, this is just, like, a shit apology. You know, it's the cover your ass, trying to look as good as possible apology, not the, you know, apologizing for the exact types of damage you were doing, because he's also not apologizing for, you know, misleading these young men into thinking they could get his physique without taking gear, which is like, people should just be transparent about the gear. And, like, you're talking about helping young men, and it's like, this isn't how you do it, bro. This is how you sell them your supplements, which are much less effective than HGH and test.
Nope. The Liver King brand has had nothing, or at least very little, to do with my business success. My companies were all...
This is just insane for him to say this. It's like, not... Okay.
Already kicking ass, already successful before the Liver King pub...
Then why make this huge push and tie it in and spend a bunch of money? And it's like, no, this is not... I mean, I don't have the exact receipts of exactly how much money his like companies were making beforehand, but I think I invite Liver King, who will never watch my little reacts video, but I invite him to just release the receipts, man. Show us how much your company was making before you did Liver King stuff, and show us how much after.
public figure, growing at 50%
Transparency.
year over year, and still growing at the same pace after the Liver King public figure.
50% year over year and still growing at the same pace. Again, you could just release receipts for this. You know, no one's gonna take you at your word now, nor should they, because your word is worth like spit in the wind.
Nope, I've never had ab implants, ab matching, or any other plastic surgery.
This isn't what this is about.
Fuck never actually had
this is detracting.
editing done in Singapore. I made all of that up. It was all intended to be a joke, and that's an expression of ancestral 10 and 10. Have a little goddamn fun. Ultimately, why do I do them?
So you can sell more stuff.
When I talk about the 85% of the population that suffers from self-esteem issues, that's me.
He's apologizing for the wrong thing, and this is not even an apology. He's acting like he is in the right for doing this, and he's completely 100% not.
I'm part of that statistic. This is why I fucking work myself to death in the gym. This is why I do 12 to 15 blood-burning workouts a week, just to feel like I'm okay. Still, I have to absolutely crush myself to do so, and I'm wrecked physically.
He just sounds like
cognitively.
he's reading from a script. He's said this so many times.
Has helped in a profound,
except for the hormone replacement
way.
part.
And still, I believe that the path to paradise is paved in fucking hell. I previously have said in a weird way, I'm grateful for the recent events that have shed light on this complicated as fuck topic. I knew I needed to take this on.
I'm guessing he crashes and burns, so this this grateful spin is like humorous. I mean, I understand why he's trying to get ahead of it, but like, I don't think you get ahead of this, my guy.
Opportunity to openly discuss everything. For me to be a better.
You could always, at any point in time, openly discuss everything. You were just like, you didn't have the balls for it.
Better human. If there are any questions that remain unanswered, send them my way.
Yeah, why aren't you apologizing for stealing money from people effectively? It's fraud.
As a man can be. And all
if you're so sorry, return the money.
Right now, be better and lead myself to a better life as a better human. Again, thank you to everyone for the support, the criticism, the love, the hate, and above all else, the loyalty. Liver King.
Yeah, what a dick. Alright, well, I think I've already said everything there is to say here in terms of, you know, like, it's just fraud, or it should be considered fraud. You know, he's hawking his supplements, and, you know, it's just disgusting, you know. He's trying to, this is just like, you can tell he is not trying to make a sincere apology. Instead, he is trying to rebrand himself in as best a way as possible in light of what's happening and get ahead of everything that's going on. You know, there was no apology at all for, you know, misleading men into thinking that they could get the results Liver King was getting without being on the same gear Liver King was on. And it's like, and even then, like, Liver King also probably has really good genetics as well. And so it's just like, he's just like, oh, you get like me, all you need to do is the 9 ancestral tenets. Oh, plus some tests. Forgot to mention that. Super glad he got popped. I don't know, yeah, I hate inauthenticity. I hate people who lie about the stuff. I really don't care who's on gear, who's not. He's acting like this is what people care about, whether or not he's on gear. It's fundamentally not about whether or not you're on gear. I think for the vast majority of people in the fitness scene, because a lot of those people, you know, interact with people who are on gear, and like they are aware that people on gear are like part of like the entire industry. It's that you're saying you're not on gear, which is damaging to the people who are trying to get where you're at without the gear, and they can't get the results, and they think they're doing something wrong, and that something wrong is they're not on the same gear you're on. Yeah, anyways, feel free to do the YouTube stuff, like, comment, subscribe. If you missed, or if you think I missed something in my analysis of why Liver King is an asshole, just feel free to put it in the comments. You know, I do think that I do think that a lot of what he's preaching is like good in terms of the 9 ancestral tenets. I forget exactly what they are. They're stylized in a way that's like not how I would stylize the presentation, but like organ meats and like living well and like getting out in the sun and like all this type of stuff. That seems great. But this primals, I'm not a huge fan of that, and I'm really not a fan of the lying through your teeth, and also lying through your teeth to get a profit. Anyways, see ya. Primal's out.